So I just came back recently from 5 weeks in Central America and North America, and I had a couple of the most profound speaking engagements or moments precisely at a speaking event that I've ever had, and I wanted to share one with you today. In fact, my wife is standing just over here to my right, and she just said, never work, in the context of television, never work with kids or animals, and that's a saying apparently in TV because the unpredictable nature of them. She wasn't saying don't work with them, just to be clear. I'd never heard that before, but I think I love the fact that kids are unpredictable. That's why probably the most profound speaking engagements I've ever had the privilege to be involved in were in schools. In fact, I would recommend everybody speak in a school at some point in your life. There's something about young people, they demand honesty, they demand a sense of authenticity that adults just don't. They just don't. So I'm in this amazing innovation center, this innovation hub in this amazing city in Mexico. And I'm speaking to about 300 to 350 young entrepreneurs. There's a students award going on. There was adults in the room. There was faculty in the room. And for whatever reason, I didn't see this one young man who was 9 years old. And at the very end, I took questions. And this young man put his hand up, and I'll never forget, he wore the most beautiful face, but he wore this incredibly loud, colorful jacket, and I'm going to play the audio for you and the video in a minute. But it was really, really, really profound. And the question he asked, essentially, and you'll hear it in a second, is if you could go back about 40 years or so, what would you say to me, or what would you say to the younger version of yourself at 9 years old? And here's the video.
40, 50 years ago? No, 40. Let's go back 48 years ago. Imagine that you're a child, and that child is me. What will you say to him? Or to me?
Actually, I think we're done. We're done.
Woo!
Well, first and foremost, I wish when I was your age I had the courage to wear a jacket like that. And the second thing is I wish I had the courage to stand up and ask a question. And of all the years I've been doing this, and all the places I've traveled, and all the people I've spoken to, for some reason, that is the most difficult question I've ever been asked. So, I will not be buying you a Sprite or a 7-Up or whatever you guys call it over here after this talk. I would ask you to find, in your own way, the time to love your friends, love your family, but find a time to love yourself. And if you do that, everything's going to be okay. Because if you have some self-love, you don't need things as much in life. You don't have to have a partner to be happy. You don't have to be successful to be happy. These are things that will come to you, but you don't need them to define who you are as a human. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
So there's a lot of silence in there of me sitting on stage, and I found myself wanting or needing to sit on stage to kind of, I suppose, to meet his gaze. He was on the kind of the fourth row or whatever it happens to be in the auditorium, so I found myself sitting. And there was something about his question and the innocence of the question, and I jokingly said, "Oh God, is that the time? I think we need to finish up." And then I gave him a compliment about just the courage he had to ask a question, but also wear this immense, amazing jacket. But I've shared this story with a few people, and I also shared that I closed my eyes because I didn't have an answer and I was waiting for the answer. And people have been, intrigued to know what the hell was happening there. And I guess I don't know what was happening there. Some who might be way more religious than I would say God was doing his work. Others might say that spiritually you were waiting for the answer to arrive. Others might say you were just thinking all the different variables and you were just coming up with something that actually felt right in the time. All I can say is whatever came out came through me. It didn't come from me. That's all I can tell you. And it was one of the most spiritual experiences I've had on stage. And I literally heard his question. I sat with it and I found myself closing my eyes on stage in what some might perceive as an awkward. I just re-listened to the video like literally 2 minutes ago before recording this. And shit, there was a lot of silence. I didn't realize how long it was there for. And that was me literally closing my eyes and literally waiting for the perfect answer. When I mean perfect, I don't mean it's perfect in its words or it's perfect because of me, but waiting for the answer that I was meant to share. And I, from a speaking point of view, it was a very powerful, provocative, poignant moment for me, because what it gave me is this permission to wait until the answer came, but also it gives me this great hope that I don't have to be the one with the answer, because I think that's so exhausting, so much pressure, and stinks and reeks of ego. But as a speaker, I would encourage you to play with this idea that actually there is not a question in the world that you can't answer. You can always go to the I don't know, but play with this idea that actually you're just a vessel on stage, that actually if you're asked a question, you can literally just close your eyes and wait, and if an answer comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So that was my moment in Mexico, which was absolutely profound, and I'll be indebted to that beautiful 9-year-old for asking a very challenging question. But I'm even more indebted to the powers that be, whoever they are, whatever that is, for gifting me that question so I could pass that on to another human being. And I don't want to use that story for benefit or commercially use it in a negative way, but there's something I've been called to do more and more and more, and that is work with people to help them stand on stage, whether it's a stage in front of one or a stage in front of many, to help them connect with something bigger, wider, and deeper than themselves. And if that's something that interests you, I would ask you to reach out to us, because we are going to be working on some really interesting initiatives about not how to become a better speaker, but about how to show up more in the world, to become more visible in the world from a deep place of trust, to become the leader that you're destined to be, to find a way to stand on a stage of any number in the world and show up in the most authentic way possible. And that's been my life's journey to some extent, and I want to be able to pass on some of that wisdom. So if that is of interest to you, reach out to us, and we've got some fun things coming your way. Cheers.